Welcome to the Breaking Gill Boys podcast. This is episode two. Yes. So we have our first guest on. I'm very excited to welcome Sconnie Breaks. We'll keep his name hidden because I know he is wanted by many nations across the world and many things. He resides out of the great state of Wisconsin. He's probably one of the first breakers I have built a relationship with. A really good guy. Salt of the earth. We use all the terms, right? Plus, he's not that much younger than me, so which is good too, because there's a lot of younger people in this hobby. So it's good to be an old geezer too. So welcome, Ray. That's his real name. I'm going to give it away. To the Breaking Gill Boys podcast.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. This should be fun. So I'm excited.
Yeah, he's so I have talking. I can speak English. I have talked to Ray, through, of course, TikTok, hearing his voice. I've seen pictures of him, but I've never got the picture together. So now the puzzle is complete. So I want to ask you first about your sports card journey. You can tell us about how you got into sports cards and how you kicked off again in the second chapter of your sports card journey, if you want.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, I was big into baseball. Started with t-ball, baseball. I lived right down the street from a school, so I was always at the schoolyard in the field playing basketball, playing baseball, playing football, depending on the season.
Me too, yeah.
And, you naturally just start following players and you love the teams. And, my dad was a Bears fan, family was Cubs fan and Sox fans. And, it's awesome growing up with two baseball teams in the same city. Like, who do you vote for? Who do you pick? And so we were kind of split, but you start paying attention to the players and then, hey, look, there's cards at the store. Let me grab a pack. And then you pull a card from your team and you get excited about it. And, what was I, 6, 7 years old, probably when I first started picking up packs and, your parents would get you. It was different then, though. You can go to a gas station and get baseball cards. You can go to the grocery store and get baseball cards.
Drugstores, yeah, anywhere.
Everywhere. Walgreens, and so you just start collecting and you start pulling the players you like and even players you don't know. And then you start learning about them and you see them in a game on TV and it's like, oh, I got that card. Right. And the excitement's just there and you're flipping the card around, reading it, going, what's his stats for the last couple of years? How many home runs did he hit? What did they do? And it was just exciting. And so that kind of kicked me off. And then you buy one pack and that turns into 3 packs and that turns into asking for your birthday and Christmas.
Yeah,
right. Give me a couple of packs.
Use your allowance. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hear you. I mean, for me, I mentioned on the first podcast, so I was a big Red Sox fan being in Boston, of course. 0 to 10, diehard Red Sox. I mean, I'm sorry. 0 to 13. Get my math because 1986, a lot of things changed. I was a big Cal Yastrzemski fan, so yes, that's why I know 8's my favorite number. I kind of remember being in my little screen house and so forth. And when he retired, I mean, I had the clipping. I might still have them somewhere. Him getting the rocking chair they brought out to the mound he sat on. So I remember that. Like again. And I think sports cards are like capsules in time, basically, right? I mean, they remind you of so many awesome things. And I remember going down the drugstore like Donruss 83 when you had like Gwynn and Sandberg and Boggs and all those. So I had all those. I still have some of them, and they're okay condition considering. What you have, George Brett? Oh yeah, someone at a card show gave. Do you remember those big jumbo cards?
Yep.
Like I think 85 Donruss. Someone gave had George Brett in it. Raleigh Fingers, Rich Gossage, everyone with the Jim Rice, Jim Ed, yeah, yep, sure. So yeah, I mean, I was in it, doing the junk wax era, and I think you were too. I was big into hockey, and I was just showing someone some of these cards today about, like the Lindroses and you're in hockey too, right? The Jagers and to me anyway, a golden age of hockey, and the cards aren't worth anything, which sucks,
That's just the thing. When we started collecting, we didn't, it wasn't pull the card from the pack and put it right in plastic and, put it away and check the value on it and see how much it's worth. It was, I like the player and I want the card.
Put in the binders, right? You know the 3-ring binders?
Nothing will ruin a card faster.
Yeah, well, I know. It's true. Especially if you stored them for 20, 30 years and they're sitting in a box, you know what I mean? So, and it's just miraculous when you find a few that are in good. Holy crap! Which is probably going to be an 8, But again, prices it depends if it's for you're trying to flip it or for your PC or whatever. So tell us how you got into it as kind of, hobby, but there is a business element to it now. So why did you get back into it?
So I was on TikTok because my kids got on TikTok,
right.
and I honestly joined whatever platform they get excited on. I always join just to make sure that they're being safe on it and that I want to understand what they're doing.
True.
So I joined, and I was on TikTok for a long time before I got into cards, and I was just flipping through. And honestly, Junk Wax Sal was the first guy I saw on my card talk, and he started opening cards from the era. From my era,
right.
Your era, he would be opening up 84 tops and 87 Fleer and 86 Donruss, and he'd be going through it, and it just cracked me up. It brought back memories.
Don't you remember the design? I remember the designs by sight, not seeing the year logo. Like
exactly.
By sight, I remember.
It's the 87 tops with like the wood grain background and
the Fleer 83 just had like the bronzish, gross looking rust colored border and stuff like that.
Oh, and the biggest parallels you look for was tops traded or
those holograms that came in, right? So like Sway sent us a box of 90 Upper Deck. And, there's nothing really worth much. Of course, there was one Ken Griffey Jr. card in it, which, it's like $10 or whatever. But he got it. Going through the cards and all that, remember plays I know. And what I like to look at more than ever now is the actual pictures on it. Like, this is Rick Honeycutt, and he looks like he's writing a ticket, dude, like he's a statey.
Right.
But I love those. I mean, I just think, and some of the players have like the glass. Like there was another one that had like the thick glasses. You see the kids in school wearing back in the day to pitch and stuff. But it's it's just cool the designs and stuff. But they all come back to you like we talked about. So let you continue.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you had, though. You only had, Donruss and Fleer, and you didn't have products being released like on a monthly basis. You didn't have 10,000 variations inside of one, product. It was, you were looking, it was cool to get an error card. Remember how big error cards were? Like
Billy Ripken with the F face on the knob there.
Oh, I think everybody has the Kevin Romine error card from baseball, and it's just
Kevin Romine. He was on the Red Sox. Yeah. Well, what happened? What was that one? I
forgot. I think it was like 91, 92 Fleer score or something like that. But it wasn't him. It was a completely different player. So.
That's like Jared Patterson on the Redskins now. Remember
exactly.
The wrong guy? Was it Patterson on the Redskins? It was somebody else.
It was an absolute.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it in a minute how they use the same picture for everything. But so it like we talked about, you remember the designs and stuff. So how did you get back into because you kind of jump started back in the last year or two because of TikTok and stuff like that. But why did you decide to become a breaker, if you will?
I always had my cards with me when I moved from Illinois here. Sure. I brought everything with me. That I moved here in my car. Believe it or not, everything that I owned came with me in my car, and it wasn't because I was
minimalist.
I wasn't escaping. It was just I had an opportunity in life, and I took it, and it brought me down a good path. And I didn't know it at the time, but everything happens for a reason. So. Of course. Yeah. I started watching card talks, and then I started seeing a few people live once I started following, Junk Wax Sal and then some more people. And I started seeing people live, and people started selling cards, and a couple of them were opening old stuff. And I was like, hey, let me go look at my cards. Cause people in the chat were going, wow, that's $100 card. And I'm like, hey, do I got $100 sitting in my,
I know that in my box
here? Yeah. So I was like, all right, this is cool. So I ended up started watching a bunch. And some of the first people I bought from was people that you guys see today, 238 cards.
Yep.
L2L, Turbo. There's a couple of people who are.
Turbo was one of the first as well. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and I think I bought into 238's live on his second live, and it started a friendship from there. And I I bought into L2Ls first, and then I bought into 238. And when I did their podcast, I would joke around that L2L was first.
Right. Oh, he was my first. Sorry.
But great guys, and I didn't know how it worked. I was like, so what do we? And you see people coming into chat when you're doing lives, and you see people asking like, well, what's going on here? And it's like, I didn't know I can just hey, send some Venmo over and get some cards and potentially something great. And
Sure.
You know, these guys were top notch even starting out. Like, you sent the money, you sent your address, and you got the cards that you hit.
So easy. We didn't have to send away like box tops or anything, or send the mail and hopefully to get that card.
Right.
like now, like
And,
redemptions. But that's another story.
The other problem is you can't find cards in store. And this is all leading to why I'm breaking. So
yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks for these guys, you know, because they can't go in and buy anything. You can't even like a prism, like a blaster, right? You saw what happened at Target with the drop. I was lucky to get one, and we actually hit a good card, which is amazing to me. I couldn't believe it. It was all him.
I got three. I got three of the blasters from when Target had them. I jumped in there and I miraculously got some, and I just ripped them like a week ago. So
what'd you get?
A couple of Jamar Chases. I got a nice Davis Mills patch.
Oh, you did okay.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. The blasters actually turned out pretty good, but it's the excitement. Everything about what we do is the excitement. It's the chase. It's the, I want to be that person that pulled that card. I want to own that card. I want to have that story behind the card. And so I started off, buying blasters and hangers, just cards that I couldn't find in store. And that's what a lot of people do now too, is, and even with me, I was out yesterday shopping, for example. I went to Target, I went to Walmart. They had cards, but nothing that anybody would like to collect. They had tons of hockey, of course, but
no one likes hockey.
But it's fun, and there's also big money in it. So, you have the thrill of the hunt, thrill of what you're pulling, and then, also the thrill of just getting something for your PC. When I pull a bear, I'm excited.
Mr. Fields.
Exactly.
Top load in your house. Always gets top loaded.
It's a rule. It's law.
So speaking of polls, and I'm going to have Junior ask some questions, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into the hobby and kind of the inner workings of it all. So your biggest poll for me was this Herbie. I think it was right near the Super Bowl, actually. I didn't even realize how big of a card it was, because I think, by my reaction, I was like, okay, it's a red prism. I had no idea. But the numbered cards are so sought after, and especially, I know it's a little bit of a glare here, especially, a rookie QB, right? And I remember talking to you about, and we'll talk about this in a moment too, about grading, because I thought I saw some kind of imperfection. I'm like, shit, I'll just send it over to, we're not going to edit that out. We just sent it over to SGC, and it came back a 10. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So what has been your biggest pull to date for a member of your community, and then one for yourself, I guess?
Ooh, I'd have to say my most recent one was out of Prism. It was the Mac Jones Gold 1 out of 10.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it didn't even make it to get shipped, to be honest.
You bought it off him?
No, my LCS did.
Wow. That's good. I'm sure that person's happy. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it was a big card. It has potential to be a bigger card. And luckily the guy I pulled it from is here in Wisconsin. He lives in
no way.
eastern part of the state, and it just worked out that way. But it was I'm not going to disclose any details of what I know.
Sure.
But it was just a big card. But I've pulled great stuff from when I was breaking. And when I started, I was opening blasters and hangers. And, when I got a mega, I was like, ooh, this is going to be a big box, and you pull great stuff. And then it just kind of rolls from there. It just depends on what's big to you.
Dude, the first mega him and I got, because again, we got into the hobby, so we didn't know, we're like, get the Dawn Rush, get the score, get the absolute, because you didn't know that, the odds of getting a Kaboom or downtown were nil and none. You were just getting cards, because that's how we do. We got rookie. Oh, we got a rookie Mac Jones base, and it's like, well, we know what happened with that card, but that's probably a bad example. But a rookie, and you're like, whoa, and it's like it's $4. We're like, what? Because back in the day for us, those were the cards, the base rookie cards.
Yeah, I mean, I got back into it. When I got back into it, it was. There's always the transition of products, but when Prism Draft Picks came out is when I got 21 Prism Draft Picks came out.
Yeah, we did too. Yeah.
You can get them from Target. You could. It was big, and I was out of even sports for a while, so I didn't even know who's getting drafted this year. I had no idea of names. I mean, I just didn't dedicate any time to it. It's just I was so busy in life at the time, and
sure.
as I was getting back into it, I'm like, okay, who is this Mac Jones guy? Where is he from? What's he doing? What team is he on? I see he's in a red outfit. He's these are all college. So I'm like, all right, what teams are these guys playing for? And it's as you start opening stuff and you start researching it and you start learning about it, it's like, okay, well, I think I'm gonna like this guy. And of course, Justin Fields, he's on the Bears, and I'm looking for him. So I'm sitting there Googling half of these people. Like,
absolutely.
When are they playing? Who are they playing for? What position do they even play?
Dude, so it was funny because the first cards that we kind of ordered, if you will, were those draft picks. And I pulled a Trevor Lawrence green out of, I think it was one of the inserts, Crusade, or was it one of the other ones?
It was just a parallel.
Parallel, yes. So thank God he's here because I don't remember anything. So, but I was like, what a big card. I thought it was a huge card. And it's like a $10 card. And you're like,
oh yeah.
Okay. But it is an education. I mean, it's something that you learn, because I've been big into fantasy football, always been. So I knew a lot of these guys anyway. I actually drafted Jamar Chase in my fantasy league because I read about him and they said, because he played with Burrow, like chemistry is so important with the wide receiver and a quarter. It's so important. All right. Even though he took a year off and all this stuff. So I'm like, I took a chance and he was blowing up. So I was saying to people, he's going to win Rookie of the Year back in October. And people were like, no way, dude, quarterback all the way. There's no way. So I was trying to buy some of his cards back then. And I would go on eBay and I would lose the bids and all that. Because again, I'm like, I can't justify paying like more than probably, again, ever $1,000 for a card. I just in my mind, I can't do that. I don't know why. Right. But I remember, losing out on him a bunch of times. And then I traded him in my fantasy league because I had running backs got injured. And I'm like,
McCaffrey breaks his.
McInjured. I call him McInjured. Yeah, so McInjured got hurt. And I traded Chase. And but the thing is, I already kind of have knowledge that I follow fantasy. I don't follow college at all, though. Like these new kids that came out, I have no idea. I don't. But I'm learning. I know Pickett's big, and I know Willis, and I know Jameson over in the Lions and stuff like that. So you got to pick that up just to be somewhat knowledgeable, because people will smell the bullshit a mile away.
Oh yeah, that's why I fully admit all the time. I'm like, I don't know anything about this.
You do. I love it.
I don't know what he did. I don't know what his stats are. But that's kind of part of it. Is you don't have to know everything.
Know enough. You have to know.
I don't look at people if they don't know if you're just getting back into it today, you're not going to know as much as me getting back into it a year ago. And I'm not going to know as much as the person who's been doing this for 3 years. And I'm not going to know as much as the guy who's been collecting since he was a kid in the 60s. Like it's knowledge, but it's also you can learn things, but you don't know at the time. And that's okay. It's okay. Just I always tell people too, like, look at checklists. Look at
you do tell people that all the time before they get in a break. You do.
I try to tell people too, like, do your own research. People ask me all the time, like, what should I do with this? What should I do with this? And it's hard to answer because it's all dependent on what the person wants. Are you collecting to flip? Are you collecting to collect? Are you collecting to invest, hold, and maybe see what happens in the season? Everybody's different. Are you collecting just a grade? Do you collect just slabs? Do you, it's so varying depending on person by person, which is awesome because we all have our own agendas.
Exactly.
And I like to do a mix of all of it. I collect for me. I collect to some of them to flip. And then some of them I love to send off to be graded to hold on to. And
is your son into it or your daughter? I know they're in the background here and there.
They like seeing what I pull. They like seeing, I pulled I just got my SGC submission back, and I was at work at my office, and usually when they send stuff out, you have to sign for it. Otherwise,
I know. I just missed out on. I have to redeliver mine on Monday. Yeah.
So I was a day off on when it was arriving, and she texted me and she's like, "Dad, the mailman's here and he wants me to sign for something. Do I sign for it?" And I'm like, "Yes, sign for that. I know what it is."
I'm getting excited for the mail again, dude. It's awesome, isn't it?
Right. Oh, and I was like, "Yes." And she's like, "Okay, I already did." And it worked out. And I was like, "Oh, just wait until you see what I got in there."
Oh,
and
dude.
I had a gold Cole Kmet rookie field level disco, and it's just a pretty card. And I got a 10 on it. And when I opened it up and I was showing my kid, she was like, "That's awesome." I was like, you just like seeing the pretty cards, don't you? And she's like, she's like, yeah, I don't know who the person is or what they do or any of that. So they like seeing that. They like
to see you happy. They like to see their father excited. Let's be honest. I mean,
exactly. And we used to honestly, when I first got back into it, I was like, oh, they sell cards on Target and they just ship them to me. I don't got to run to a store. They'll be here in a week.
The internet.
Okay, I can wait.
The internet.
I know, amazing, isn't it?
All right, good segue, Tom, because I know Junior, we know the attention spans of children are very small, so I have to get him involved a little bit. So, Junior, do you want to ask Sconnie some of your questions? He's all shy. He's never shy, ever.
Ask away, young man.
All right, go ahead. Get a little closer to the microphone. Don't knock over the desk or anything. All right, you want to stand up near the mic, or you want to?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Don't worry about that. Leave that alone. It's fine. It's okay. Oh, my headphones are caught on his chair. All right, go ahead. It's like I said, we do not edit. This is all raw and real, baby. All right, go ahead. Ask Sconnie, aka Ray.
So, what's your favorite card?
What's your favorite card? He's asked. What's your favorite card that you have?
My favorite card is a 1978 Walter Payton second-year card.
Ooh, that's nice.
And it is in completely the worst condition you will ever see.
Is this something you had as a kid that you actually had?
No, and it's not a funny story, but so my whole family's from Chicago. My grandparents retired from Chicago to Michigan as they were cleaning out their house. One of my uncles still lived with them.
Yeah.
And we were helping clean one of the rooms, and in the back of one of the, crawl spaces in a closet, just a bunch of junk, old toys, a box of stuff. And there was a lunchbox in there, an old Snoopy lunchbox. And I opened it up and there was like 15 cards in there, all football. And, I was a big Bears fan as a kid, and I'm going through and I'm like, don't know. Walter Payton. Oh my God.
I know him. Sweet.
Yeah. And I started looking and I was like, wow, this is a really old card. So I kept it, and, it's a bear. He's my goat. And I was like, this is the best day of my life. So that's probably awesome. My favorite card, just because of the story of how I got it. And I mean, like I said, it was in a lunchbox. Kids, when they have cards, a lot of times, even back then, like, they didn't take care of them. Went in a lunchbox.
Put it in my bicycle spokes.
Oh, exactly. Corners were bent. I'm sure there's a big crease in it, but I have that thing in a screw down and haven't taken it out since.
You want to do a note to people. I learned screw downs. Do not use them now.
No,
do not. In the card. Back in the day, if your card's crap anyway, it's fine. But now, don't. Yeah, because I had a Michael Vick rookie or whatever in there. Because again, I hitch my wagon to the wrong people sometimes. But yeah, I learned they're like, no, take it out of that screw thing. Oh my God! I'm like, all right, dude. Right. So, would you want to show me your favorite card?
My favorite. My favorite.
You know which one's your favorite? Well, show him this Nick Chubb one. This one's pretty sick. So Luke over at Vortex, if you remember, he got us the retirement gifts, even though I've unretired more than Tom Brady. But he sent this Nick Chubb one. He sent me a dude. Check this one. A Barry Sanders Pinnacle. This is ballpoint pen from the 90s.
Right.
It's plastic too. It's like actually a plastic card, which is pretty sick.
Nice.
So he sends to him, so he sent the Nick Chubb to him, and I'm like, oh, I like that one. I want that one too. I kind of want that one. But what else is the one you said you liked? Your Mac Jones. This was, again, another guy from this great community sent him this, a Mac Jones 9. I mean, we'll talk.
It's out of 90.
It's in the numbered card as well. So what else you want to ask, Ray?
What's your best money-wise card?
Value. Your value. That has the most value, not monetarily.
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, I'm not one of those people who have multiple $1,000, $10,000 cards. No, I'm lucky if I get a card that's worth $100, to be honest.
Yeah, you flip them pretty quickly if you have. You know what I mean? You don't
If it's somebody I don't collect, why keep it?
Yeah, that's how I am too. Yeah,
let somebody else enjoy the card.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, but my biggest one now, I don't know, it's between two. I pulled I got into a break and pulled a Justin Fields auto out of Rookies and Stars. It's a nice silver card.
I think I was there. It was 238 or Maine, right? I think
it was Maine. Well, pulled that, and then I recently just pulled a black Trey Lance out of 10 out of Phoenix. And I looked up at the comps on that card, and I was like, oh wow, that's a pretty decent sized card. And then I had it graded. So That right now is probably my biggest card, and it's for sale, by the way.
But by the way, look up Sconnie Breaks on TikTok.
Link in my bio.
Yeah, yeah. 238 never says that at all. But we're going to have you at the end as well go through all your different online entities, if you will. But you have another quick one for him. Then I'm going to round out with the state of the hobby.
Sure.
What do you want? Come on, don't be shy. You can ask him anything. It doesn't have to be necessarily sports. What do you want to ask him? Like his favorite team, favorite, I don't know.
Who's your favorite rookie?
Rookie card?
This year?
No, who has the most potential, you think? Out of rookies of what? Last year or this year? Last year. All right. So we'll take out your Bears bias. What quarterback of the rookie class last year you think has the most potential of really being good?
It's hard to say. You know, to be honest, it's really hard to say because they just started. I mean, if we're as
Mac Jones, no, I was kidding.
I think that he's up there. I mean, I think a lot of the big quarterbacks this year or from this last class have a lot of potential. I'm going to say Fields just because when he came in, I mean, he didn't really have. We had Andy Dalton, and he came in because Dalton got hurt during the game, so he didn't. He came in as like, hey, I'm just kind of sitting back. We already got a quarterback. And he came in and he got clobbered his first game. Yeah, he was clobbered. He got sacked by your team 9 times in that game, maybe.
Oh, I bet.
You know, but with the management that we had, you know, sometimes you got to look at it behind the scenes too.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
You hear these players coming out and talking about like, well, I would have done this if they would have let me do this. And, you know, you're only as good as your whole team. One person doesn't make
coach is everything. Dude, coaching is everything.
Coaching, your O-line, you know, all of that comes into play. But I honestly would say Fields. He had a good college career from everything I've read.
I think he's being biased.
But no, I mean, you know, if you asked me a couple of months ago, I probably would have said Mac Jones.
You know, should have done this 2 months ago. I knew it.
He's got an organization behind him. He's got a team. He's got placement to do it. And that's what it's all about is how can they work all well together? You know, you can know that a part of an engine is good, but you don't know how the whole engine works. You don't know if you're going to get to your destination. But
no doubt.
With the excitement around the team this year, with some of the changes that they've made, I mean, it's all hope and speculation. You know, I hope they do good. You can't control what's going to happen in the game, and neither can I. We're not there playing. So
I just did. You know, I see Justin Fields has potential as well. I just don't see them putting much around him from wide receiver perspective.
I agree, and I think that a different staff will also kind of raise the expectations of some of his targets. You know, Cole Kmet, how much did he get used?
Mooney. Montgomery out of the backfield, and then I do like Khalil Herbert. I think he's going to be good.
I do too. I think that some of these guys just don't get the chances. You know,
I never thought I could say there's a wide receiving core worse than the Patriots, but there is one. There was one in Chicago.
Well, I mean, the Patriots now got Devontae Parker.
Yeah, Devontae Parker, it was a good pickup. I have to say that. Again, it's the system, it's the coaching staff. There's a lot of it. I mean, everybody said at the beginning of Tom Brady's career, he was a system quarterback, but then we knew he was the GOAT, the elite one.
The way I look at it too, though, to be honest, is you can't just look at the value of their cards to say whether they're going to be good or not. They're just
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance,
$20,000 for Trey Lance.
Kellen Mond. When is he going to play? Kirk Cousins is going to be quarterback until he's.
I don't know why they signed him. My God.
You know, Kyle Trask. When is he going to play?
He's not. I got rid of all his cards. As soon as Brady, I'm retired. I'm like, see ya.
And you know, you can't just go based upon the value. You got to look at what's going on with the team. You got to look at what's going on with the quarterback.
Like Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh, I definitely hitched my wagon to him because I don't think Trubisky's the answer by any stretch of the. You know that more than anybody.
Yeah, I know, but we don't control what happens.
Willis, is behind Tannehill, and Tannehill, I don't want to help him. Like, good guy, good vet. So we're going to kind of round it out with the Stay of the Hobby quickly, Ray. So let's talk about this one first. So I like doing the current events. I've been doing that more on my TikToks, and I think people kind of like that because I'm trying to. I had one guy said I was just complaining, but when 2 dozen to 3 dozen people talk about the redemption horror show that is Redemptions, I don't think it's me complaining. I think it's a actual fact that's happening. But what do you think about? Oh, as we talk about, let's talk about Redemptions quickly. So the madness of redemptions. Now, I'm only on month 3 for one for my Kyle Pitts, and I've heard people say, "Yeah, I'm waiting since December." I've had people say about certain cards, waiting 2 years. This no responses, all that. Coming from a social media business world, like you have to respond somehow. I don't care if they can responses. Thank you. We got your message. We'll look into it. Like that at least gives you hope. But
Right.
What do you think about the whole redemption thing in a minute or two? We'll do kind of rapid fire if you will.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's horrible. I don't think redemption should be in there. If you can't get the cards now, put them in the second year product saying these are rookie autographs from last year.
Amen.
Sell it that way. Look at CD Lamb and Leaf. He didn't sign. They went after him. I know people that have been waiting 5+ years on redemption.
Oh, my God.
I have one that's 130 some days right now of Fields. It's an on card. So it's not like he can just sign a sticker. He sends it back.
He has to be there. Yeah.
He has to sign the card. Kyle Pitts, I've only seen a few of his autos. I think it probably was a good idea in the beginning, but everybody does it. You can get redemptions in Tops. You can get redemptions.
I've heard they fulfill pretty quick though. They're quicker, I should say.
But I think it would be more exciting and to keep the ball rolling onto the second year of product to say, look, you're going to get rookie autos from last year. You're going to get whatever. Last year. And if you can get some from this year, those are going to be like XRCs from Select. It's a year behind, but they're
those are cool. I like those. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. They should do that. Absolutely.
So to make people wait though this long, they should have some type of policy saying, look, if we can't get this card signed within 3 months, we'll give you something else, but it's still an IOU. It's like
the white box thing. People try. Some people got white box stuff like Moke. I remember got one, but you had to have like a bunch of redemptions that were tons of money.
You can
one out of one Herbie.
I pulled I was in a break and I pulled a basketball redemption from 2013. I turned it in and I got 125 points because I didn't want to wait for some card that I probably would never get. So I've gotten one redemption back from Tops. That actually took like 2 months. So I just don't think it's a good. People are chasing what it says on the box. You can potentially get 2 autos,
course.
And you pull a redemption. If you can get it back, great. But when you have how many redemptions, for that player?
It's 16. One guy told me 16.
Why aren't Kyle Pitts autos, his actual auto, because he did sign in a couple products? Why aren't they like $10,000 because they're so rare? People aren't getting them back.
Well, what's going on? Which I hate the whole on sticker. I don't like it at all. I think it's cheesy. Some cards they just look terrible on, like the mosaics and the prison. They look horrible. And they know how much because like Optic Contenders just came out and there's like all the top guys are redemptions because they didn't have them sign enough stickers.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So it seems like such a huge money grab, and points don't get me going with points because I went on there, unless you have like 100,000 points, I don't know what you could get. There's a lot of crap. These are guys that never made it and they just have these laying around. So they're trying to get rid of them. But anyway, let's go into, we're going to go into grading and then we're going to finish up with LeBron logo man. But grading's a big one that came up. I'm learning myself about it. PSA, Beckett, SGC, and then every Tom, Dick, and Harry's coming out with a company as well now.
CSC.
Rare Edition, I did see Rip and Wax talking about. Those look pretty slick, but again, they're a new boy in the block. So how good are they? I like SGC because they turn them around quick. I got my last set of cards. Again, nothing crazy at all, but I got them in like 9-10 days. I was like, holy crap! Like the turnaround was 10 days.
2 weeks on my last one.
Dude, that's incredible. Then you heard the PSA nightmare, especially with the pandemic, years. So I'm going to ask you, because you're a little more knowledgeable than me. Now, SGC, I've heard that you take mem cards to Beckett, you take high-end cards to PSA. For me, like SGC, people are like, I don't like the look. I think it's very clean and very simple. I don't know what you want to have, like bells and whistles and fireworks shooting out the sides. I don't know what you want to do, but I just think that the market is so fluid. So if you put in a rookie card and it's sitting there for a year, and say he blows his ACL up, God forbid, well, you're done.
Right.
That card's done. Whereas if you do SGC, you might lose some money up front anyway, but at least your card's back in the game. It's already back in the game. So what do you think?
I think with grading, you're buying the card, not the grade. in the very first place, you got to remember you're buying that card. If I pull a huge card out of, let's say, God forbid I ever open Flawless and I can afford to buy a box for other people.
I did a post about that with those memorabilia. Good God. But anyway.
But let's say I pull a Justin Fields 101 and then, or not a 101, that's a bad example. Let's say I pull a Justin Fields out of 5 or out of 10.
Right.
And I send it in to be graded and it gets a 9. It's still a Justin Fields out of 5.
Oh, good. Some potential on it, yeah, for sure.
But if I get a 10, awesome. If I get a 9, is that card worth really any less? No, because you're buying the grade on that. When you get down to like 8.5s and right when you're barely at a 9, you still got to remember you're buying the card. Grades are great and they add value to it.
True.
Wow, it's perfect. It's a 10. It's great. But I've sent in a lot of great cards that I thought were 10s and they come back 9s.
Dude, again, I thought I remember the Herbie we just talked about. Like, I see a divot, and you're like, no, when I saw it was clean when I sent it to you, and I'm like, man, all right, I'll just do SGC, and it came back at 10. I was like, people are like, you should crack it open, you should resend it. And I see nightmares when people try to crack it open, and destroy the card.
Yeah,
no, thank you. Just stick to your guns or whatever. So I just sent in a Herbie 2020 Phoenix Fireburst, right? That's the the parallel or whatever. I bought it on eBay for $42, right? So I kind of looked at it, dude. I have my lamp and I'm looking at it and trying to look like a jeweler, you know what I mean, and doing all that stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, I think that corner got a ding. I don't think I'll just send it whatever. It came back a 10. So I have no clue.
No complaints there. It's a 10. It's slabbed. It's done.
Yeah,
a lot of people. I actually had somebody comment on my post this morning saying, I like the cards, but I won't invest in SGC. And it's like, well, do you like the cards or do you like the grade and grading company? Because whether I sent it to BGS, SGC, HGA, PSA, it's still the card. It's still the card that you're grading.
FCG, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of grading companies out there. I prefer to stick with the top 3, and it depends on the card.
Yep.
If I pulled for example, I don't understand why people grade 101s. It's the only card. You get a 9.
That we're going to compare it to. Yeah, there's no comps, right?
I would just send it in for just PSA authentication.
That's a good
at that point. And that you have the only card. Why throw a grade on it and ruin it? Is it the card or the grade that you're buying?
Right, because maybe the card comes back an 8 or some, God forbid.
And that's happened because what I'm finding is a lot of people, and I've made a lot of great friends doing this, and I pull a card for them, and then I get messages from them. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And then they'll send a card in.
I did that too.
But it comes back, and they're not happy with the grade. But when you go and look at the population counts of some of those things, the highest grade that some of these cards gets are 9s. Or 8.5s because they have nothing
talk
else
about
to compare
pop counts quickly for people who don't know.
Population count is basically how many of that same card is graded, and then
that particular company, because everyone has their own.
Exactly. So let's take SGC. You can go right on their site, put in the product, and see how many of those cards graded and what they graded at. So, for example, everybody who's grading Mac Jones rated rookies when they're selling for $1,000. It's a $50 card on a great day, but when you go and look and there's 575 of them and you have you have a 9 and there's 150 10s, it's the whole thing about this hobby is the more rare of what you have, the more it's desirable. The more that's why 101s are so great. Is it any different? No, it's the same card as the out of 25, but with a black background, or it's the same card.
I'll tell you what, there's one 101 that's not great when you get a 1-of-1 Charger pulled and you thought it was Herbie and it was Keenan Allen. So that happened. Were you in that live at 238's live? Because I was like, it's Herbie. And he's like, it's Herbie. And I'm like, oh, it's Keenan Allen. I'm like, oh no, God help us.
It's still a 101 and somebody collects them.
No, I'm going to keep it because it's my first 101. I also pulled a DJ Shark laundry tag from XR, and I'm like, but somebody wanted. See, you always think no one wants this card. There's always someone that does. And the other thing too, and I'm going to ask you about the LeBron. Then I'm going to probably wrap up. But even if you're in a break, and you should, it depends on if you're into it or you have storage, whatever. Don't ever not. Yeah, don't let the breaker say I'm not sending you base, because that's your decision. that you
Right.
pay for it. That's your decision. You ask people all the time or whatever, or people throw us ones for my son, or I have a lot of people, and I think you do too, since I did the PC yard sale, people like to buy just any Packers, any Bears, any Patriots, whatever,
Well, people still collect.
Yes, people forget that. Yes.
So there's a couple of local guys that started stopping in my lives and started getting cards from me, and we talk outside of TikTok, and they live, I don't know, 45 minutes away, half hour away, and they ended up coming up to Madison, Wisconsin for the card show that we have monthly, and they got tables, and so I sat down with them, and we were. They had one of them was doing games, which was really cool, a dice roll game. And the other guy was selling wax and cards and singles. And the guy had a pull box, and this guy and his wife girlfriend walked around, and they were like, do you have any of this? Do you have any of this? Do you have any of this? And the guy was looking to finish his complete sets. There are still a lot of collectors out there. So base cards are important to some people.
Absolutely.
What's funny is, I had a guy a long time ago when I first started collecting. He came into a live, and I've known him for a while. You probably know him, Swamp Donkey.
All right, the names are great. I love
him. I love him. But he was. I've met so many cool people doing this.
Stink Pickle. I mean, there's so many.
The Only Dan's.
That Stink Pickle was some kind of like gross, weird innuendo. He goes, no, it's just a name.
Yeah, it's great. But the guy at the show and even his girlfriend or wife, they were saying you should really put all of your cards out here, even just like a $50 pull box, because there's a lot of people walking around this show who are looking to finish their sets, and they want very specific cards. And it may only be a 75-cent card to you, but to them, it's important because they're finishing their set. They can't find it.
Absolutely. So
I have a card that I keep because it's my first one.
Oh, go ahead, show. So we had Pitwood, Don Pitwood, another incredible guy in this community.
Great guy.
So nice. Brought us the Browns. Send us this like Anthony Schwartz. We call it booklet from Playbook. So
I keep it because it's my first booklet.
Yeah, it's his first one. So that means
and it's an on card.
It's probably a $25, $30 card, but that means a lot to him. That's all matters, right?
You got cards coming for me from Don right now.
Don's like Santa Claus. So we're gonna end it with this, Sconnie.
And it's an on card.
And we want to talk about quickly too the community. We're doing this because I want to showcase and share and have people meet these awesome pillars of the community, which you are. You've helped me out quite a bit, and we talk life too. We're like friends as well. So if I ever get out to Wisconsin and I'll come up there and we'll hang out, and you come out to New England.
For sure.
So the last thing is, we know the big Backyard Breaks a couple months ago pulled the triple logo man LeBron. Golden just sold it for $2.4 million. This guy had the biggest marketing blitz behind this thing. He had billboards in Times Square, all this madness, and they thought it was going to go for $6 million, and it went for $2.5 million. What's your whole take on that? Because I would. Even if I had that money, unless you love LeBron, if you love LeBron was your guy since he was in high school in Ohio and all stuff, maybe. But I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think it's a unicorn card. One person's going to own it. One person's going to enjoy it. We're all just going to hear about it.
Yeah, that's
what's going to happen to that card now that it's bought? Is it going to sit in somebody's collection? Are they going to travel around with it? Is it going to sit in a closet in a safe because it's worth so much?
What fun is that, though?
It's not. That's the whole point. It's fun to have. I remember. So let me take it back. When I was a kid, some of the biggest cards that our unicorns were the 52 Mickey Mantle rookie card.
Yep.
That was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how these big cards are now. You're probably never going to own one if you see it in the store. You can't afford it. I mean, most people can't. So where is this card going to end up? In a big collector's hand, which is awesome. If they enjoy it, yes. If they're buying it for investment so they can sell it for another $1 million later, is it a money thing then? But that's such a big card, and the chase was fun watching. I'll be real honest. I watched all the
it was. But then you had all the the underswell of like, oh, look who pulled it and all this stuff. And it was that stuff. I'm like, kind of like, come on with the drama. Just.
But look, do you remember when 238 pulled the Steph Curry diamond card?
No, I've heard about it. I didn't see it live, but I heard.
Oh, that was awesome. And look who won the championship this year.
Yep.
That's the card to have. To me.
Sure. Oh yeah.
I can take, and I don't know. I'm torn on this topic because it's a card I'm never going to see. I'm never going to own. I'm just going to see videos about it. I get more excited about cards that I can actually potentially get. I can't I can't buy a flawless, box.
Dude, do you know how excited I was when Maine Bob, another guy in Maine, Jesus, they're all in Wisconsin and Maine, in Florida, those 3 states, that's where you guys all live. But he gave me a duck race because he's an awesome dude. He's like, I go, don't do that. I'm very humble. I'm like, you don't have to. He goes, no, I want to. I'm going to. I'm like, all right. So I won this in a duck race because he just gave me a spot, and it was a Tom Brady, which I gave it to my son. But it's only Mac Jones. Like, I can't, like, it sucks when your favorite team is like the quarterback who has the most expensive car because you can't buy it.
That's the hard part, and that's why it's so fun to pull him though too.
Yeah. Oh, so, dude, I was so psyched I got that Mac Jones. I mean, I'm never going to trade it. I'm never selling it because he's my PC, like my Barry Sanders. The guys who sent me those, like those, the cards are not like the Herbie. I sat on this because that's an investment thing. This is a whole learning thing for me. This is my case study on learning about the hobby through this Herbie card. To be honest with you, so
I don't know. To me, I mean, look at the Honus Wagner. That they were saying, the Logo Man is going to sell for more than that. It's going to break new records. And it's like, but it's just a really nice one-of-a-kind card. The Honus Wagner, they used to put in tobacco packs?
Tobacco. How about that? Tobacco.
And they gave it away as a promo. Like,
it was a throwaway thing. Yeah, for sure. It's crazy.
Somebody kept this card for how many years, and the fact that more cards are still being found in, people's old collections and attics, and that's awesome.
These grandma's trunk in the basement, stuff like that. Sconnie, because I could talk to you for days.
Me too.
You and I have a gift for gab. I think we have a gift for gab. So we are going to kind of round up now. Sure. So please plug all your social medias and your websites. And if you have breaks coming up now, today is the 26th. I'm probably going to get this up tomorrow. So if you have something coming up in the next week, say whatever. So
sure. I'm actually going to be on vacation next week.
Oh, you going up to your cabin?
Yep, I'm going to be gone. So I'm probably going to do one more break today and then probably nothing during the week. Breaking takes a lot of time.
Plus, you have no Wi-Fi up there. I'm sure you're up in the wilderness.
We don't even have phone lines where we're at. So,
don't you know? How are you going to contact me? How are you going to get cheese cards up there? Come on.
I mean, the phones work, and I do have a little bit of Wi-Fi. I buy a burner phone so that we can still use internet.
So I told you he's secret. I told you some kind of weird stuff.
It's just they have Verizon towers, so you need to get a Verizon phone to work. Otherwise, you're constantly roaming. Yeah. Okay. And so, I get like 5 gigs of data just to be able to check in on stuff. But most of what I do is on TikTok. Mm-hmm. I have Facebook. That's my personal account. Sure. My Instagram is, I use it to follow others. I'm not very active on it. TikTok is my main platform. So all of my info is all in my bio. My website, I will post, and
your
thank you for
always. What is it?
SconnieBreaks.com.
Original.
Very easy to find.
Sconnie. So Sconnie out here in New England, Sconnie where he lives. It's just
that's another big controversy.
I parked the car in Harvard. I get this so much. Oh my God.
It depends on how you say Wisconsin. Do you say Wisconsin?
Wisconsin. Am I saying it right?
Sconnie is short for Wisconsin.
Sconnie. Wisconsin. Yep. You're right. Sconnie, because I'm thinking scones because I'm always hungry.
People just started calling me that, so I don't correct them. It's like, it is what it is, whatever. But,
they make fun of me all the time, my accent. Mr. Hard, whatever.
Mr. Gill.
Cards, kid. Cards.
Well, so quickly, we have to stop because you have to go and I have to go. But I play off the boss. Someone says that real.
You don't really have to go.
No, he has to go. We have to go to the pool. Because I need to be sane.
Oh, you have
but
to
anyway,
go?
but the thing is,
Daddy, you don't have to go. I have to go.
All right, okay. See, this is the banter of having the 8-year-old on here. But anyway, so I play off it, the card thing, and everybody's like, "Is that your real accent?" I'm like, "No, I made it up." Like, yes, it's my real accent. My dad's from East Boston. My mother's from a suburb right outside of Boston. So yeah, it's very heavy accent.
Suburbs.
So. And I lived in the burbs my whole life, like 20 miles from Boston. So I wasn't in the city ever. But you just grew up and learned. Now, his mother being from the Philippines, of course, he has a good grasp in the English language better than his father. He says his eyes and stuff like that, which I try to correct him.
It's cards, not cards.
But anyway, so Sconnie, man, I appreciate it. If I don't see your break, I'll probably pop in. I'm sure I'll pop in there tonight. But have a great vacation, my man.
Thank you, sir.
This was a blast. We'll do it again. Maybe
we should.
We could have like a round table too. We can have like 4 people on this at one time. So
yeah, I like the back and forth. I think we should definitely do this again. A lot of people don't get to see what's happening behind the camera. I mean, this is literally where I break from. I'm sitting in the same seat. It's in my house. I'm in my dining room.
Me too.
This is
Not your diamond though.
breaks are fun for me. I love doing them. I don't do them. It's not. I run everything as a business, but it isn't a business to me. I just do that for tax purposes and all that.
Right.
But I like doing breaks a couple of times a week if possible. But people don't realize, and we should do this next time. Like, what does it take to break? How much time does it take? We're not just
money. You have to supplies, all that stuff.
Oh.
That all costs money. Like
timing. You got to make sure you got your product. You got to make sure you got your protectors. You got to make sure you got your shipping stuff. You got to make sure that you have everything.
Just one quick thing, then June's gonna ask a question. But also, how do you differentiate from all the others? Because if you go on TikTok, when I went back in October of last year, there was probably 20% of the people that are doing it now.
Sure.
So, but you have to vet and find the good ones, which Sconnie is, and I'm not just saying because he's here, but he is one of the good ones.
And I appreciate that. I mean,
all right, go ahead. And I'll let Jim go. Go ahead. You go. You go. Well, you go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So why do you do breaks? Not for the money.
But community, he said. He likes the community. Yeah. He likes to help people out. He likes to do it. He gets a joy, right? You get joy out.
He does.
Well,
he pulls daddy fire. I mean, that always helps.
Not always. We both got to win and lose.
1 second.
When you do breaks, he's your magic man.
He's the magic man. Yeah. When you're not here, I know. So I don't have any magic though. I'm like an orc. But anyway, go ahead.
I think what sets me apart is I ship very well. I make sure that I take care of it.
Oh, do you? Yes, you do.
But that's important to me because when I first started getting into breaks, I saw the bad. I had goats like 238, L2L, Turbo who would do stuff very well, and you kind of learn from that. You learn what people are expecting. I think I'm transparent with what I do. I try to keep my prices low. I don't BS about things. Exactly.
Blue tape, baby. Painter's tape.
I got 5 rolls of it over here. Don't worry.
I bet you do. I bet. You got your hobby armor. I just cut boxes because I'm just low level. I cut boxes.
Oh, it's a time saver for me, not anything else. But I think what sets me apart is I do what I say what I do, and I don't put a lot of flash into it. It's not, ooh, you're all going to hit great. It's like somebody's going to win. I don't jump. I'll get a little excited over a big card. When I pulled that max, I was ready to dance around the chair. But I do it because somebody provided that service to me when it was hard for me to get cards. And I think that sometimes that I'm also providing that service to other people that I'm getting cards that they don't see on a daily basis. Right. As soon as we get off, I'm heading to the LCS and they have cards that I don't see on a regular basis all the time. Right. And I think that's the fun part of it. When are you going to go and find a 2015 hobby box? That's
you're like the gatekeeper of stuff that people can't get. I mean, we just can't get it every day, and
you kind of become that. And it's all relationships. And if I can get good stuff and provide it, like that's fun for me. I love opening cards, even if they're not for me. Because I used to sit and just rip blasters and hangers, and it was like, this is fun. And then when you don't do it for a couple of days, you're like, man, I just need something to rip. I need to open something.
Give it to me.
It doesn't matter what it is. Could be score. I just want to open it. But
open it. Give it to me. I just open my Pop-Tarts like that now. Just like, and I saw someone do that actually. And just slide the other one up, the one behind.
I just with breaking, I just try to be. I'm just me. I'm just here. I'm not trying to make money off of this. I don't do it as a part-time job. It's fun for me, but I
do this as a full-time job. Actually, that's why some people are not
collecting is
straightforward as others. But we have to cut you off. Have to cut me off because I know we'll talk for. So we're gonna have because we're big Star Wars fans. We're gonna have Sconnie Strikes Back. We're gonna have the sequel coming soon. So
there we go. Let's do it.
So we want to thank you for being on, brother. I really appreciate it. And the Breaking Gill Boys podcast is out.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Junior.
Thanks, guys. Wait.
Bye.
All right, hold on. Okay, where's the end button?
Right there.
I know.
See. Corner.
All right.
Bye.